Yep. And see it's 6:30. Do we have a quorum yet? One, two,
Yeah.
three, four,
We have a
five,
quorum and you
six.
guys are making me hungry, so we need to.
Sorry.
Sorry, Bob.
Okay, yeah, we have a quorum. I don't think, oh, Greg is here too. Yes, we have the full team. And Nanachka's here. Okay, I think we can go. Good evening, everyone. It is 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. This is the meeting of the Bolton Advisory Committee. And we're continuing our discussion on the FY26 budget. And let's see, first up on the agenda, we have our town treasurer, Michelle Carlisle. Hi, Michelle.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hungry. Thank you, Jenny and Bill.
Okay, I will share my screen that has the spreadsheet.
What are we starting with?
We're going to start with 145,
Okay.
which I think is
Treasurer.
treasurer. Yes. Let me see. Okay, now I can share. All right, here we go.
Oh.
Okay. Everyone see that okay?
Yep.
Good enough. I can make it
Yep.
a little bigger if that helps. Okay. Michelle, typically we have just sort of walked through the items just with a very brief description of what they all represent. Some are self-explanatory, but some require a little bit of explanation. So go ahead.
So salary, self-explanatory. That's just a step increase. Stipend, I'm not a certified treasurer, so I don't get the treasurer's stipend, plus you only get one or the other anyways. So my stipend is for a certified collector and it's in the collector budget. So that's why that is 0. My longevity budget is based on who we have and who's coming up for longevity. And software support is Harper's, the payroll system, which we need to keep. Postage is just for incidentals if I have to mail something. So, and I can't use the town hall postage. So that's why that's so low, because it's not used very often. Tax title expenses is exactly that. It's the expenses for tax title. And office supplies, self-explanatory. Bank charges are any charges that I receive. I've only gotten a couple this year so far, but they sometimes can get excessive, sometimes not. It's completely unpredictable. In-state travel is for meetings, with meetings, and then my dues is to belong to MCTA and Worcester County. And that's it. Everything is pretty much level funded, with the exception of, well, yeah, it's even less actually than last year because I'm a new treasurer.
Right, a bit of a reduction, right?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And does anyone have questions for Michelle?
What type of bank charges would you?
Yeah, I was curious about that too.
So the bank charges, I don't know, Nanachka, can you help me with that one? Because I haven't encountered any yet. And like I said, I'm new. So
if we, so our financial advisor costs. Also,
right.
if there was a borrowing above 500,000, you have to have Lock Lord look at it. So it's for things like that.
That's right. I haven't done a borrowing yet. That was done by Kristen before she left at the end of June. So I'll be coming up on that this June. I get to learn new things.
Right.
Thank you, Nanachka.
Hey, Michelle, sorry. Can you go back to longevity? New term for me, new word. Is that a software package? What is longevity?
Oh, longevity is employees who have been here for X amount of years receive a, kind of like a payment thank you for sticking with us. It's different, unions are different, so it's kind of all over the board. I thought that I had that with me. Shame on me that I do not.
So instead of putting like police longevity with police, fire with fire, it's all in this one account. It's something we can talk about adding to the various departments at some point.
Oh, this is everything.
Yes, this is everything. It comes out of my budget, yeah.
Okay.
But
Oh,
Nanotchka's right, we could talk about just putting it off into each department if it makes more sense, but right now it's all with me for everybody.
so in terms of, in salary terms, this is, or hiring terms, this would be considered a bonus for folks who've been with us for quite some time?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Mhm.
And it's
for the
10 years.
and for the non-union employees, it's as reflected in the bylaws.
Oh, yeah, that's right, it is in our bylaws.
And I want to say it's like 500 or $1,000 per employee, something. in
Well,
that
it goes
general
up, so, yeah, it goes up, so
area. Okay,
for non-union employees, you get 500 after 10 years.
okay,
And then it goes up from there. The police union contract happens to be the same right now as a non-union employees. The DPW contract, they get a stipend starting at 6 years, and then it goes up. So it's different depending upon the unions, but town hall employees, other employees, non-union employees, it starts at 10 years.
So this one is by statute or by bylaw. It's
Yes.
just a formula, it's a math equation, and
Well, it's not a math equation. It's just that once you've been here for 10 years, you get $500, 15 years goes to $750, 20 years, 1,000, 25 years, $1,250.
times the number of employees in each of those bands, right?
Times, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Clear. Okay, thanks.
what, a question for Marie, if you don't mind. Is that different than the longevity we discussed last week?
Help me out on the longevity we discussed last week.
On the last meeting, at the end of the meeting, we talked about a proposed wage adjustment of approximately that of
Lon-
17,778.
Longevity is different than that, yes.
Okay, so
Longevity is, yeah,
that wage adjustment would be in addition to this.
correct.
Okay.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Michelle? If not, is there a motion to approve the treasurer budget for $134,466?
I move we approve the treasurer's budget for 134,466.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, Don,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay, excellent. Next up, tax collector.
Okay. Okay, so we have, since I became treasurer, I'm now the tax collector and the treasurer. But my sole salary is in the treasurer budget. And we hired an assistant collector treasurer, Andrea, and her salary is in the collector budget. So that's why that is reflected lower. She's hired at she was hired at 29 hours, but in her offer letter, we said that we would try and move her to 32 hours because I need to train her on payroll. Right now, I do not have a backup. So if I get hit by a bus, nobody gets paid. And that's not good. We can't have that. So we need to train Andrea on how to do payroll so that she can be my backup. And in order to do that and add to her responsibilities, I wanted to go to 32 hours for her. My stipend as a collector, certified collector, is here in the budget, as you can see. The purchase of services, right now, I use that money to pay the ACH fees for online tax payments. If you use your bank account, your checking account, not a credit card, but if you use your checking account, City Hall Systems charges the resident, if they were to pay it on their own, 50 cents per cart, but they charge me if I pay it 25 cents per cart. So for the past several years, when we switched over to City Hall Systems, as a kind of like a thank you and a please use the online system, I've been having that come out of my budget, and it's worked well. And I've thought about changing that to cut back on the budget. It's only around 500. It does go over sometimes. It all depends, really. Can't really tell who's going to pay and who's not, so I can't predict how much that's going to be in the future. But I don't want to take that away from them, especially this year. So I would like to keep that in the budget. The software is still the same. The end of our contract is at the end of FY26, and I expect that to increase because they haven't increased their prices in quite some time. That's FADAR. That's the system that the tax collector uses, the accountant uses, and the assessor uses. So to post all payments and do our job, that's the main system that we use. Postage has gone up considerably, so I have to raise the postage budget. They raise their prices every January and July. Try as I might to keep it down, I can't. So I had to go up on that. Tax taking expenses is exactly that. And then office supplies, in-state travel, dues, are all self-explanatory. So that's where I am with that.
Okay, great, thank you. Anyone have questions? There are no questions. Is there a motion to approve the tax collector budget for $93,526?
I move we approve the tax collector budget for $93,526.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Great.
Thank you.
Next up are 710 and 752.
I'm sorry,
Which-
Bob, I'm a little out of order. Could I just ask a question? It's not going to impact
Sure.
that, but just wondering if we could, if there's a thought about moving from postage to like email. I know, like, some of our emergency services will let us know if there's a problem by email, or, they'll call. Is that something we could do and save a significant amount maybe next year or in the future?
Emailing what, if I may ask?
I assume that postage was for the invoices.
It's for the real estate tax bills, motor vehicle tax bills, personal
Okay.
property tax bills, and by law, I have to mail them.
No kidding.
Yeah,
All
I have a
right.
lot of rules as a tax collector that I have to follow.
Okay.
It's
Thank
a lot of
All right.
fun.
Sorry for diverting.
No,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Okay, so next up is 710 and 752, and that's our debt service. And this is the debt on the books from previously approved capital expenditures. I'm not sure if we need to vote on this. Jenny or Ninotchka, does anyone?
It's up to you. I mean, it is what it is. Those
Right.
are the debt schedules. I can answer any questions about any of the projects that are on there, but if you go to the master spreadsheet, that debt tab has, the information with each one. Yep.
Right. So here's the debt tab with sort of where we are this year in 26 and, the outlook going forward, which gets a little better.
Yeah, a few more years, we'll have some significant drop off.
Mhm.
Does anyone have questions?
Nacho, this is Stan. Are we still paying for the 2000 renovation of the high school?
That actually just came off this year, just in time
Just
for the
came
new.
off. Oh,
Yes.
just in time for the new, in time for
Yep, exactly.
for what we just finished paying for to be torn down. That's
That's
great.
correct. I thought the
That's
same
wonderful.
thing.
That's wonderful.
All right,
boy.
well, we've been voting on everything else, so we may as well vote on this, not that we have much say in the matter, but is there a motion to acknowledge the debt service budget for $1,144,948?
I move we approve the debt service budget for $1,144,948.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay. Michelle, now we're down to employee benefits, 9/11, and I think a lot of these, well, some of these are assessments, but anyway, 9/11 is the retirement assessment, right? Do we know if that's the final number, or could that change?
I think that could change, right? Nanochka doesn't,
No,
aren't they
that's
meeting?
final.
That is the final assessment? Okay, I
Yeah.
apologize. That is the final assessment.
Any idea why it jumped so much?
We have some early retirees, and we also have they have I don't know off the top of my head, Marie probably knows that they have a end date that they need to be fully funded by. They have an aggressive makeup schedule.
Worcester Regional is not in the top 10 of well-funded pension systems in the Commonwealth, and their assessments are trying to catch up. One should expect at minimum a 9% going forward. It depends on how much catched upness is required. But you know, we're up 4% over their presumed 9. Yeah.
That
That
hurts.
hurts.
All right.
They basically have very unrealistic assumptions on returns, and when they don't get those returns, they stick it to the towns. That's basically where we're at. This is nothing new.
That's pretty common.
Yep.
No. Okay. All right. Well, is there a motion to approve the WCRS assessment for $994,717?
Make a motion
Yes,
to
sure.
approve for 994,717.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. 912, workers' comp.
We're just level funding that.
Right. Okay.
Is this an outside insurance company, or are we self-funding this?
It's funded,
No.
it's managed through Maya, or Mass Interlocal Insurance Association. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
There a motion to approve the workers' comp budget for $29,589.
I move we approve the workers' comp budget for $29,589.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. 913, unemployment compensation.
That one, that's also through Maya. Right? Yep, and I think you had added the 9,000 to that.
Yeah, I'd added the 9,000. The town is a reimbursable employer. We aren't assessed, unlike private industry, a certain percentage, but we are required to pay the claims as they hit. Sort of facing some financial uncertainty as well as wanting to carry something so we're not going to the reserve fund. I encouraged Michelle to add it, increase it to 9,000.
Right, so in 24, that almost 30,000 came completely out of the reserve fund. It was unexpected at the time. We haven't seen anything yet in 25. Any indications how 25 is gonna shape up?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if I had a crystal ball, that would be great.
Yeah.
But so far, so good.
Okay. All right, so Marie, your recommendation is the
Yes,
9,000. Okay, does anyone have questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the unemployment budget for $9,000?
I move we approve the unemployment budget for $9,000.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. 914, health insurance.
Is this
Everybody ready?
employees?
Yeah, and retirees. So it's for
Retirees?
current-
out of here?
Yep. Current employees and retirees. Yeah.
Would you ever take the retirees out of the OPEB reserve?
Not yet.
Yeah, I kind of figured, but I had to ask the question.
Yeah. So that went up 14.84%. So I did a spreadsheet I added a couple of families. I added a family plan and I added 2 individual plans to this because we are hiring new patrol officers and sergeants. So the health insurance itself came out to about, I think on here I have the health insurance itself is $789, $713.29. So that went from FY 25, 650, 625, 24 to 789, 713.29. That's with me adding 3 plans. So 1 family, 2 individual plans. Then there's the opt-out part of this, which is for those employees who are on their spouse's plans and they opt out. Saves us a lot of money if they do that, and we pay them for that. Then we have Medicare Part B, our employer contributions for us, for the HSA, which is the high deductible insurance that our employees take, and administrative fees. So without dental, that comes to $856, $432.43. And the reason why it's different from your $856, $116 is because I had calculated the health insurance going up at 14.8%, and we were just informed that it's 14.84%. So I adjusted for that.
Michelle, what was that number again?
856, 432.43. Adds that additional 0.04. The group dental. Oh, that's an increase over that. So the group dental, I added 2 family plans and an individual plan, and I already have 1 officer who just got on the dental plan, and then I think I might have 1 other. So far, the adding is working out. And so that total comes to 24,947.21, because that was an increase of 8%. So,
Okay.
yeah,
And,
and then OPEB that's what we're supposed to fund. That's the amount that we're supposed to fund.
right, that's 100% of our obligation
Of our
Actually,
obligation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the year.
so
Okay,
it's in there, whether we
Right.
do it or.
right.
So that's what that is. Unfortunately, there's really not much we can do about that.
Marie, did you
Yeah,
want to make a comment? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I wanted to pose a question to the committee, because there had been the tight times of fiscal 25 where it was our OPEB actuarially determined contribution was only funded at 10%. And there is the option of funding in fiscal 26, likewise only at 10%. I know Ninotchka is working on finding out, though, what impact that would have on our rating, our bonding rating. Don't know if there's an answer yet.
Right.
How is fiscal 25 doing so far? Are we gonna get lucky?
As far as turnbacks?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I'd say we're running right where we should be. So, I mean, generally in a good year, you know, a lot of it depends on snow and ice, which we're gonna blow through our snow and ice after this week. But it's not a $500,000 snow and ice. So, I mean, my hope is we turn back 100 or 200,000, but won't really know yet.
So last year at town meeting, we did describe the decision to reduce our OPEB contribution. And at the time we said, we're committing to fully funding OPEB in FY 26.
Right.
You know, the financial situation is not great. But I would be hesitant to do the same thing again and to have to go back again and say, you know, we've reduced OPEB down to 10% again.
Yeah, I mean, part of our increase in 5173 this year is because we didn't fund OPEB in prior years. We're paying with the retiree stuff and to just add to the potential for that is going to kill us in going forward.
Now, I think when we take another pass through the budget in a few weeks after we get all of the department, or through all the department budgets, and we have to make some tough choices, we may feel differently and have to make some other decisions. My feeling for tonight, and this is up for discussion, but my feeling for tonight is we should leave it as funding our commitment and just see what the end result is. And then maybe go back and revisit it.
Well, right now, without making any change to the budget, excluding the district assessment, we're $1 million in the hole.
Right.
And with the district assessment, we're $2 million in the hole.
Right.
So, you know, no matter how you look at it, either we present a override of $2 million, or we figure out how to trim something off this thing. So, you know, we're not in a good position any way you look at it.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I am
this-
certain we're going to have to go back and trim a number of things.
Yeah, but this isn't a trim. This is to defer on OPEB is merely pushing it down the road. If we trim a service or something, that's a permanent and you're all set. But this would be just, it comes back next year at a higher cost. So it's not good financial
I hear you, but are you willing to tell the voters that we're going to levy at least a $2 million override on these folks? You know,
I'm willing to say that we shouldn't push stuff off that's going to cost us an arm and a leg in future years. Yes.
No, I hear you, but I think we, we need, and quite frankly, we still haven't pushed back on the district.
No, I understand. It's, OPEB is just, the OPEB and the retiree stuff, I think it's a poor choice. It's just,
Well,
it comes back
well,
to hurt you in the
well,
future.
we-
It puts you
we-
behind the hole.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I don't think we can deal with the retiree stuff. That's an obligation. We can't do that. So you gotta figure out where you're gonna cut and not cut, and what you're gonna ask the voters to um accept as pain. I mean, right now, I mean, you've got to be. We're looking at like, I think $1,600 more in taxes this year. So unless we do something.
Well, just
So-
pushing it off to the future. I don't consider that doing anything.
Well,
So
that's
my
fine.
My suggestion is that once we get through all the department budgets, we take another pass and decide where we can and should make cuts and try to do it comprehensively versus just an ad hoc approach.
And I believe that's what we did last year. Isn't that correct, Bob?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. So,
Yeah, let's see where
So-
the numbers lie and we'll come back to it.
you know, we very well could end up deferring OPEB if we need to, but it would be nice to have all the numbers, including the school assessment, before we start deciding what to cut. Okay, so if we leave this at fully funded, 270, 64. So is this the right number? 1,152,144?
Is that with Michelle's change?
That's with group health at 856,433.
Yes, those are the numbers. So yes. If you add those three, yep.
Yep.
Okay. Other questions, comments? If not, is there a motion to approve the health insurance budget for 1,152,144?
I'll make a motion to accept 1152,144 for the health insurance budget.
I'll second that.
And just to be clear, it's 1,152,144.
1152,144, right?
11,115,2,144. Yes. Okay. Good.
Okay. I think,
Good.
yeah.
All right. Roll call. Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay, Michelle, almost there. Life insurance.
I just level funded that because I don't have an estimate on that, but it won't, I doubt very much would go up by very much because we don't have a lot of people who take it. So I'm not worried about that in the grand scheme of things.
Is there a motion to approve the life insurance budget for $1,400?
I move we approve the life insurance budget for $1,400.
I'll second that.
Roll call. Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. And then Medicare, is that just our Medicare assessment?
No, that's just a 1.45. It's calculated off all the salary numbers, so it changes when the
Right.
salaries change.
Right. So is there anything to vote on there?
I wouldn't, because it could change anytime if we adjust any salaries, it'll change again.
Right. And it's that one's also not up to us. Okay. Great. Awesome. Michelle, thank you very much. It was very helpful.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. Thanks. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's see. I think Chris Rogers is here. And this is a go back,
Yep,
439.
feeling to start like a
We've
regular.
had we've had some ongoing discussions about well monitoring. And Chris, you have an update for us, I think?
I do, and it's unfortunately not a great one, but hopefully we'll all remember going back in time a little bit here. So what once upon a time was a very easy process that we did annually. We were doing it wrong. We didn't know it, but we were doing it wrong. DEP has come in. So again, we've got to go to twice annual testing for 5 monitoring wells on property of the landfill, 2 surface water sites, and 5 private wells. We received from Joel, our engineer in this, an estimate of $25,000, which we'd initially plugged into the budget as our number. And then went through one cycle of doing this whole process. And it turned out that it came in at 20,308. So we're going to recommend we revise the budget. So that was for one round. And again, that insult to injury, we're also being required to do a third-party assessment of the landfill site. The transfer station has one. I'm hoping that we can use the same LSP to take care of the landfill site as well. So I've also added that into the requirements. So I'm asking that we revise this budget from 25,000 to 42,000. And I'm sure there'll be
I
some
just gasped out loud. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I've got to keep some things from you.
Wow. And Chris, your sense is that this is sort of a reasonable cost for the type of work that's being done, that we're not just being gouged by the testing company?
So the testing company, I can say we're not being gouged by, because again, we actually did some price checking this. So Rhode Island Analytics is who we use for the testing, and they came in at the lowest number. And again, I would recommend we do this every time it comes up. And then so yes, so there are 2 parts of it. There's the engineer that we have doing the testing, who is doing the sampling, who's monitoring the wells, and it's quite extensive. That's roughly half the cost, and then testing is roughly half the cost. So I would say yes, now that we're into these kind of numbers, it may not be a bad idea. I like the engineer. He's got a lot of institutional knowledge about the site. He's kind of been there from the start, but these are real dollars. So I would agree with somebody who would say, let's look at, perhaps talk to somebody else about it. At least, I don't know how procurement works or how we would go about getting new information. I don't feel we are. Again, having worked with Joel for a long time, I think he's a straight shooter, and that all the information we're getting is correct. And again, I'm happy to not only have the DEP correspondence, but this document that gets generated from this to any member, because it's a pretty weighty thing. And again, unfortunately, something that the DEP is requiring that we do. My hope, as I've said before, is to say, yes, let's get this information to them. Let's agree to do it. And the hope is that we can try to roll some of this back, kind of bring it, reduce the number or the volume of testing, since we've done it consistently and done it to the best of our ability, and it's come back pretty good. So
It sounds like this is going to be an ongoing thing, right?
it's been actually going on for almost 30 years now. So
I meant 40,000 next year and 40,000 the year after, and
it could
et cetera, et cetera.
it could be. And again, the driver behind that, Don, is 2 things. One, again, it stinks. I don't like it.
Yep.
2 things. One, we've had a whole new list of testing parameters added. And I don't know if any of you have done PFAS testing personally for your own wells, but it's the most expensive test out there right now. So we've got that compounded by the problem that the wells we have on site are essentially the original wells that went in when the landfill got capped, and they're difficult to get samples out of. They're degrading, and our hope is just to keep them going well enough to get samples out of until we have a better idea as to how much longer we have to do this, because that's to Don's point, that's the question we haven't asked yet, which is there ever an end date to this testing, or does it roll back at all? Yeah, I'd be happy to ask that question, but I feel like I'd rather ask it when we've given them all the documentation they want, and we would take us at our word that we'll do what we have to satisfy them.
Okay. Other questions for Chris? Is there a motion to approve the well monitoring budget for 42,000?
I move we approve the well monitoring budget for 42,000.
I'll second that.
Why does it not say 42,000 on the screen though?
Well, hopefully somebody can. I don't have the ability to do so, but if
Yeah, we will. I'm sure Nanotchka's capturing this, but this will be 42,000. Okay. There was a motion and a second. Roll call. Don?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I'm also an aye. Okay, great. Thank you, Chris.
all right, guys, thank you very much.
Okay, Marie,
Yes.
you've been with us through the whole process since the beginning here, and now it's your turn.
Since the beginning and hopefully seeing it through. For Department 122, the select board, the salary is the $300 stipend per select board member. The purchase of service amount answers the question of last week, which is where is the software contract for the Meridia clickers kept, as well as covering pre-employment testing. It's required. Advertising is for the Mass Municipal Association and job boards. For each vacancy, we've been using them as a posting location. The language has been adjusted to reflect that this is an assessment that WHEAT assesses us for as a member of that community. Supplies, standard minor supplies required for select board, dues, Mass Municipal Association, as well as meetings for any Mass Municipal Association training type events. And I'm
Right.
relying on Jenny to correct me if I've gone way off base. None of these numbers could be here without her assistance. So.
Okay, questions for Marie? If not, is there a motion to approve the select board budget for 19,620?
I move we approve the select board budget for 19,620.
I'll second that.
Roll call. Don?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Next is 123, Town Administrator.
All right. The salary reflects the contractual wage of the current town administrator. The hearing officer is a holdover in that municipalities are required to have a local code enforcement officer adjudicator if tickets were written by code enforcement officers. That amount has sat there, but I'm not really, it would be on my list of things we can discuss and alter in March at the March meeting. The wages reflect the wages for the executive assistant. The next two lines were reflective of an earlier contract with an earlier town administrator. Compensation reserve. Sorry about that. This is the end of the day, lack of caffeine. Compensation reserve, in looking back, had been unspent for 22. It was appropriated to snow and ice in 23. Some of the amount of compensation reserve was applied last year for fire and EMS wages for contracts. We currently have all three contracts in play, and this is intended to perhaps supplement, but it is not a number that anyone should take home and say, oh, well, this is how much the unions are getting. Training is training, MCPPO related. There is no phone reimbursement. Supplies slightly higher. I'm a Post-it note person as well as a paper folder person. In-state travel reflects in-state travel. Dues for Mass Municipal Association and the Mass Municipal HR Association, and meetings are for on-site meetings of those professional societies.
Okay. Does anyone have questions? Is there a motion to approve the town administrator budget for $278,640?
I move we approve the town administrator budget for $278,640.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay, next is 147, human resources.
Human resources formerly had been a dual role that was held by the treasurer as an adjunct. The monies that were budgeted had been used or applied as a stipend. The treasurer, the amazing Michelle, whom you saw earlier, is adeptly handling all benefits management for employees as well as retirees. The monies in human resources, excluding that $3,840 for educational assistance, I would recommend, being moved to the reserve fund. For this year, we're contracting with Mary Beth Bernard, who is a MMHR, Mass Municipal Human Resources Association member. We've been handling HR issues in-house. I had formerly been the HR director, and relying on outside assistance should there be employee investigations or claims filed. So the 10,000 is hoping that there are no claims filed, there are no additional hearings for any employee issues, but we need to carry something in effect to be safe.
Okay. And Marie, that's like the retainer amount is?
It's actually I have a contract with her whom we haven't used her services yet, which is on a per hour. But I would like to carry something, and better to carry something and not use it. The last line, educational assistance, is another one of those items from the bylaw that is an amount carried in the event that individuals wish to avail themselves of the educational assistance provision.
All right, other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the human resources budget for $14,058?
I move we approve the human resources budgets for $14,058.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Legal services.
Yes.
Legal
The town is a party to 3 separate pieces of ongoing litigation. In addition to that, though, there is an annual expected turn for Labor Council as well as for legal assistance for town meeting prep and review of documents.
Marie, do you think any of the lawsuits will wrap up in FY25 or will they continue into 26?
I believe they will continue into fiscal 26,
Right.
potentially within calendar 25.
Okay. Yes, this has been a pain point in the past that has drawn extensive funds from the reserve fund.
Yeah.
Okay, any comments or questions on the amount in legal services?
Are we contemplating at all perhaps a different law firm in the future as these come up? Myrick O'Connell is rather expensive.
Yes. With regards to the ongoing litigation, no, in terms of our representation, but yes.
Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to approve the legal services budget for 130,000?
I move we approve the legal services budget for 130,000.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. 192. Town Hall.
All right. The purchase of services is through an assessment that is levied on us by the Commonwealth's Division of Weights and Measures. In effect, people who bring you those little stickers where, you know, on the cash registers at Bolton Orchard. That is an assessment. And the assessment has increased even though the number of registers hasn't, nor gas pumps. Heating is heating, electric is electric, sadly, and ditto phone, postage, supplies. Capital outlay covers our leasing contracts with Pitney Bowes, the mail machine, as well as Canon copiers for the photocopiers that we have.
All right, questions? Now, is there a motion to approve the town hall budget for 44,717?
I move we approve the town hall budget for 44,717.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. And then town reports.
The printing costs of the town reports.
Anyone have questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the town reports budget for 3,150?
I move we approve the town reports budget for 3,150.
Second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay, next on my list is 302 on the agenda, but I don't think that's correct.
They're coming in 2 weeks, or the 2 meetings from now.
Right.
Yes.
Should this be 303? Post-secondary vocational education?
I think it might be.
Yeah, and Yanashka, do you know if this number is the real number or could this change?
I am going to punt to Jenny. I don't know if she has the number.
How about we take chasing down the associated expense and report back?
Yeah. Yes, we'll defer that one. Okay.
Were there any notes on the second tab of the 303 budget?
I just have a note to ask Jenny.
You have a what?
A note to ask Jenny.
Oh.
Okay.
Till next week.
All right. Then the final one for Marie, 945 other insurance.
Yes, I also again want to give a shout out to Jenny, who, as part of the annual review in terms of distributing the materials to departments to confirm and going through the fleet schedule, et cetera, it has managed a Herculean task. For general insurance, this is our property as well as liability insurance. In early December, we had met with Maya, and they will be finalizing their increases in the late spring, but they had recommended that we increase our general insurance, property and liability, by 15%, increase our bonding rate by 3%. There had also been an additional sort of fast-breaking news. Instead of $2,049, today there was a request to extend bonding to a member of the finance department for an additional $200. So that goes up $2,000 to $2,249. Police and fire accident was suggested by Maya to increase by 6%. This is the injured on duty coverage. It's another flavor of workers' comp that is only applicable to police and fire. And deductible is at $5,000. We're carrying a total of 1 deductible claims. Ideally, we have 0 claims.
Okay. And we're reasonably confident that these are final numbers?
Yes. But this is based on Maya's estimates. They will, they also give you a discount if you attend certain meetings and you do certain things, but we are reasonably confident we will work to hit those numbers, if not come under them.
Great.
Hey, Maria, I'm just curious, the general insurance, going back to that, does that also cover, you might have said it, does that also cover flood as well as fire and?
Yes, that covers all properties as well as a combined property level of X million. I can send you the binder, but it does cover flood for town municipal properties.
Okay, some different states require flood to be a separate line item, so I was just curious.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the other insurance budget for $147,965?
I move we approve the other insurance budget for $147,965.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. Excellent. Okay, next on the agenda is actually capital recommendations, also with Marie. Before we jump into that, Jenny, was Jen going to join us for a go back on the town clerk?
We have an answer from Jen's requested item. She was unable to join us, but and I can, if you would like, I can share my screen with regards to the $3,000 budget for software development. They did,
okay,
which I can, if that's easier, or.
Sure. Wait, I don't know if, well, we can try. Let's see if you have the power to share screen.
Host disabled participant. It's quite all right. I can talk through then Jen's response, which is with regards to the $3,000, They did run under budget the last couple of years on that line item. She and Ninotchka had reviewed the several years of expenses, and they see the bills coming in quite near the $3,000 ask. The last few years, she posited, were lower, perhaps because of some turnover in planning. It's driven off of the number of bylaw changes. They're definitely expecting more changes in the coming years than in the last 2 to 3 years. Currently, as Pam had broached with the advisory last time, they're looking at 7 to 10 changes. The clerk's office may have a few, and she expects in terms of overall bylaw changes, we'd be closer to 15 to 20. Jen had also confirmed at a recent town clerks conference that they expect a 3% increase next year. So in short, they've done a bunch of due diligence, and she believes that the budget ask is a good number and asks that they approve. And she asks the advisory approves the town clerk budget with this request.
Okay. And just to get us to, so this is the town clerk section, and the discussion last week revolved around this.
Software development.
Right. Okay. So that's a good number. All right, great. Are there any questions here on the town clerk section? If not, is there a motion to approve the town clerk budget for $121,430?
I move we approve the town clerk budget for $121,430.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Okay. All right, now we're up to capital recommendations. Okay, Marie, do you want me to share anything, or do you want to share your screen?
It's entirely at your preference.
Okay, I think I have it here. I'll just pop it up. Is this where you'd like to start, or would you like to start somewhere else? This is your.
That's a fine place to start. Would you be willing to make it large?
Yes, let me see. How's that?
All right. One of the things as part of the capital planning process was the aggregation of all of the town's capital needs. In effect, I view it as looking at all requests in conjunction or in tandem with the town's financial capacity. What is on the fiscal 26 capital plan, which if you scroll all the way down, is in effect a whole bunch of stuff. And it almost looks like a hopeless bunch of stuff. The idea of capturing all of it, though, is to begin to assign then funding sources as well as prioritization of funding sources. The timing on tonight is a little bit off because I haven't yet presented my recommendations to the select board, although I have broached with all submitters what it's looking like for their requests. Within the items that you see broken out by department, for facilities, just as a slight point of note, like for where you see the multiple numbers for DPW, Houghton, etc., those are all a compilation of tie and bond investigation that was done. Each number is not one project per se, but a lot of bundled items that were costed by tie and bond and staggered both by tie and bond and Randy. The scary culvert prioritization, if you scroll down slightly further, is something that both Randy and I are using. He's using it as something to work from. I'm using it with keeping one eye on available grants. This too was an assessment performed by Tie and Bond. What you see listed are the 17 culverts that they deem to be the most critical. Within the backdrop of our limited financial resources, though, knowing that our free cash typically funds capital, our free cash this year was significantly lower than prior years. My prioritization is the sander, which is listed under the DPW. Randy had budgeted that this would be approximately $22,000. This was a vital piece of infrastructure. Upon discussion with the fire chief, and I may have mentioned this, sort of like a Frankensander, they'll be taking the fire piece of fire apparatus, using the chassis and reconfiguring it into a sander that can go out on the road. I recommend that for $11,000, or rather up to $11,000. Randy's estimate from mechanic was that it would be between 9 and 11,000. And that 11,000 I recommend coming from free cash.
Okay.
So that's my very a simple one that actually gets us a good piece of equipment that we can get on the roads. The second recommendation under facilities is the abbreviation WWTP, the wastewater treatment plant. I'm not recommending the full $248,173. That number is generated by Bright Pierce, who'd done an assessment. We're required by DEP to meet their deadline for coming into compliance. There had been earlier articles at town meeting for the wastewater treatment plant. The deadline for coming into compliance is December 2026. After discussion with Randy, he recommends that we allocate a small amount of free cash to this and then consolidate the earlier outstanding warrant articles. My recommendation, even though this seems very small, is to keep it in the forefront by a free cash allocation of up to $10,000, and then consolidating other warrant articles from 2018 and 2021, which are 23, for sort of it's like a Franken article, for a total recommendation of $33,550. Does that make sense? So it's not 248, it's 33,550, but I only want to spend 10,000 of free cash this year.
And that's on the town hall, the egress and
No, it's the wastewater. It's number 2. It's the wastewater treatment plant.
wastewater treatment.
Behind, shared by the library, and it is also shared by the school.
Marie, would that get us on a path to meeting the December 2026?
Randy feels confident. One of the things that I didn't want is, we do believe fiscal 27 budgeting will be in a better position, and yet I have a very small crystal ball. I don't want to compress the time between May of 27, May of 26 rather, and December of 26.
Sure.
So I want, some amount of work to happen in the background.
Okay.
That would be my second recommendation. Should have put these all in order, but I want you to see how it fits into the entire plan, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yep.
All right, we have to scroll down to the school section. This had been initially listed as 5. This has moved up to my third recommendation. This is a Riello boiler that was installed at the school. The boiler itself cost $132,000. It was replaced by the school after successive rejiggering and repairs had failed. At that time, ARPA funds were pledged to cover the cost, as it is our school. The select board had applied our remaining ARPA monies midsummer of 51,000 to the cost of the Riello boiler, leaving the 81,892 balance. So this, to an earlier point of meeting a commitment, this is meeting a commitment that had been made last spring.
Marie, when we talk to the school district, could we see any of these come back as their capital recommendations, or will they only bring high school recommendations to us?
The school, I think, would only be bringing school recommendations. I met with both Kirk and Ross today because I wanted to give them a heads up as to, I've received their requests, I've weighed their requests, and with the backdrop of the extreme financial circumstances, I can't meet their requests. One of the things that Ross was going to investigate was the priority of the exterior door replacement at Emerson. But it was not one of those in lieu of the Riello boiler. It was an additive safety security, site safety security.
In other words, that could become mandatory.
That would be, they are conferring, but the gist that I got was that the exterior door replacement would be their first priority out of their list. The IT, the network switch replacement, as well as the security camera server replacement, they were fine with holding off on because they would like to do that in tandem with the schools in other towns.
Okay. All right. That was 3.
All right. Then we go to transfer station, which formerly was 3, is now 4. The transfer station in 2023, Randy had gotten a quote for adding cameras at the DPW facility as well as at the transfer station. The DPW facility is very well cameraed. The transfer station is not. Randy had attempted to use game cameras. Game cameras don't really work. But one of the things that the select board will be considering on Thursday is some modifications of the operations of the transfer station, as well as in tandem modification to the non-criminal disposition fines. Should all of that go forward, I believe that having the transfer station cameras could be a wise investment. Ergo, I advocate $24,500 of free cash.
Has there been some sabotage or whatever you want to call it at the transfer station?
There have been issues, I would just say. It's
Yes.
also a site where, because they use that, the site is used for winter equipment as well as for their contracted haulers for solid waste and recycling. It's often left open and gate, you know what I mean? The gate is left unlocked, even though there isn't there aren't town personnel on site. So just it's a good to do thing.
And Marie, do you think we could achieve the same thing by just changing the security posture at the gate?
The ideal would be for having a camera at the gate as well as cameras up where the trash disposal is located.
Well, I was wondering if no cameras at all, just a better security at the gate, would that solve the problem?
Sort of one of the things being like a retractable gate, like an automatic gate or a card key system gate.
Or just a better locking mechanism. Like it seems like my guess is the concern is not the DPW folks who are in, it's people who are not authorized to be in there that are getting into the transfer station and doing something. So,
right.
No, it's actually more than that. It's people who are coming and dumping their trash, who either aren't using the green and orange bags, or they're coming from out of town and using whatever bag that they want. That is still a problem. It has lessened, but it's still a problem.
But isn't that addressed by the folks manning the transfer station?
We have two people at the transfer station, Bob, and they can't be everywhere at all times. So while we have gotten a much better compliance with using the trash bags, they can't be. There's only two people there. They can't be every place, everywhere, all the time.
Has there been any thought to issue stickers to residents to identify cars coming into the transfer station?
Yes, that has been something that has been discussed. One of the issues is how you can get compliance to ensure that you are viewing 100% of the cars coming in with stickers. Yeah, we've talked about that, as well as a means to close the gap on the cost to dispose stuff. But yes, that has been discussed, but we're not ready yet. I don't think yet to come up with a definitive solution for that.
One aspect, just to clarify, with monitoring folks when the transfer station is open for residents and users, as mentioned, though, the gate is sometimes left open for the contracted haulers. So they aren't having to send a staff member back to unlock the gate, wait for the hauler, because they have their own flexibility in terms of scheduling for pickup. So it's just to keep an eye when the site is in use, but potentially not in use by the town employees and officials.
Okay. All right. That was 4.
And that is 4. Those are my top 4. And there are 2 items. This is a scroll up. This could be moving into the wish list of items. So the 4 items, the sander conversion, sort of the Frankenstein sander, the wastewater treatment plant, the Riello boiler, and the transfer station cameras, I feel very strongly about. And the total impact on free cash for that would be $127,000. Well, 127,392 to be exact. Depending on where finances lie, and I am a steadfast believer that one-time operating revenues should only be used for one-time expenses. Should there be interest, and again, this hasn't been presented to the select board, 2 high priority items are the Ford 550 with plow and the T1 car, the T1 International. The Ford 550 with plow is a medium-sized plow truck. Or a medium-sized truck. You can tell I'm not a heavy equipment person. It's a vehicle which is also used for sanding in addition to hauling, materials in the summer, like loam and the like. The cost of that was estimated at $145,000. We do have insurance recovery monies from a truck that was a 2008 Ford that caught on fire. Those insurance recovery monies, if applied, would bring this vehicle to a net cost of $122,276. I feel strongly about it, but I do not feel strongly enough in the grand financial scheme of recommending it unless things change. The vehicle that I have TBD next to is a 2001 International. It is sort of the all-purpose truck. It's a truck that is dedicated to a plowing route. It's also a truck that is in effect 1 year away from being eligible for an antique plate. It costs, and as Randy had mentioned, they incur a running cost that is also increasing. The truck, as far as I know, is likewise a manual transmission, and there are not many folk at the DPW who can drive a manual transmission. When the committee was looking at debt that was coming off of the debt schedule, one can see certain debt amounts falling off for fiscal 27. I know we're making our recommendations on fiscal 26, but there is a comparable reduction in our non-excluded debt that we'll be carrying in fiscal 27 with a guesstimate, and I'm just guesstimating interest rates, at 4.5% for 5 years. The cost of replacing the 2001 International would be approximately 72,000, and it would sort of fit in, you know what I mean, fit into our debt smoothing. So that's the last two, those two vehicles are in effect my wish list. The thing that I wanted to get advisory's perspective on, among many things, is, our free cash was certified, as I mentioned, at $760,052. If all of the A through D, not my wish list vehicles, were approved, the remaining balance would be $632,660. Out of that, I know that there is a commitment to $115,000 for the second payment of stabilization. And I know that the town retains $350,000 per our financial practices. By virtue of not spending all of the possible free cash that could be applied towards capital, it would reduce the operating override ask. It is in effect, though, applying one-time funds to an ongoing expense, which in truth, it sounds silly, but it makes my stomach hurt. So tonight, what I present as my preliminary recommendations are those top 4 items, potentially a wish list of 2 additional vehicles. The one that has the TBD, the T1 truck. Likewise, Randy and I have been discussing what is the lag time in ordering. And even our earlier crystal balls are probably being tossed out right now. But this is what I'd be proposing to the select board. Ideally, what I'm happy about is gathering all of these items that are designated capital needs. By virtue of being on the list, I have an active estimate for it. I have a quantifiable need for them. What I'd hope for is to actually engage in creation of a capital plan, which is slotting these items that would not be eligible for grants, that would not potentially be eligible for earmarks, so that ideally every item on here either has an expectation of a funding source or, a potential, earmark, offset, something. So there it is. That's
But I think this is a great plan. It's great to see all of this laid out, kind of the whole scope of things over time. This is very helpful. And I think the top 4 priorities you laid out sound very reasonable to me, and they fit nicely within our free cash limits. The vehicles on the wish list, I don't know.
Murray, what I'd like to see is of all the stuff that you presented, I'd like to see a consolidated list of what it is exactly that you're asking for. One, because and 2, on some of the stuff, especially your TBD, your T3 sander for 325,000. I would like to look at some options for a pre-owned vehicle. There are the number of contractors who supply these vehicles. I drive by on my way to the Leominster Mall. I can't remember the contractor name. They have trucks out there for sale signs. We might want to look at some potentially short-term stopgaps and getting something on the cheap that lasts us a number of years as opposed to buying something new.
Points taken. No.
I think, Marie, the items on the facilities list that came out of the assessment a few years ago, I think those are maybe the ones that can come back and bite us a little bit if we continue to defer those and things go wrong. Not that there's anything we can necessarily do about it this year, but those are potentially areas of concern.
I definitely hear you on that. When I had raised the possibility, of investigating how changing our OPEB contribution would affect our bonding rate, one of the things that's also looked at, though, is the maintenance of our capital and depreciable assets, and we are indeed falling behind on that. It's the MOD for egress would be exploring with the Mass Office on Disability for their capital program for updating the rear egress, the main entrance of Town Hall, as well as the side. MOD would fund the main entrance rear egress, but questionable and slim. There are multiple funding sources. We've been relying upon free cash as well as getting state and federal programs. There's also revolving funds. There's sale of surplus property for using even disparate things like the library and the terracotta tiles that Randy was talking about. If in the far off future the town had accepted the CPA, that would qualify as historic preservation for a historic building on the National Register. There are options.
Is there an option on some of these? I assume the Houghton line item in facilities is the paint. Is that something we could just hire an additional intern for the summer and do at least some of it to save some money?
The fiscal 26 summary for Houghton is indeed the paint. If it were the interest, one could also hire prisoners.
Okay. Yeah, painting, sorry to all the painters in the group, but I'd paint my own house. It's not that hard. It's just boring.
Are you volunteering? Yeah.
Volunteer, no, but I'll give you a good rate. It'll save you, it'll be a lot less than $87,000.
Yeah.
All right. Marie, thank you for running through that. Does anyone else have questions for Marie? Okay, I don't think there's anything for us to vote on. I think this was great background information, and we will, continue to consider these as we go forward, and eventually we'll see the warrant articles. Okay, we have 2 more items to vote on. These should be very quick. This is advisory committee. And so 131 is $171 for advisory committee dues. Any questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the advisory committee budget for $171?
I move we approve the advisory committee budget for $171.
I'll second.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. And then finally, 132, the reserve fund. We bumped the reserve fund from 100,000, which was originally planned in 24, up to 125,000 for 25, and we've just kept that the same for FY26. Are there any questions, or is there a motion to approve the reserve fund for 125,000?
I move we approve the reserve fund for $125,000.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Brian.
Aye.
All right, excellent, and I'm an aye as well. Okay, that was it for the budget items. And we have one set of minutes to review. These are the minutes from the January 7th meeting.
Hey, Bob, can I bring something up real quickly?
Yes, go ahead.
When I was doing these minutes, Randy mentioned that most of the repairs in his line item budget were related to snow and ice. Could we move some of that money to the snow and ice budget?
Ninotchka, go
Do you
ahead.
mean increase for 2026 or move the current costs? We can't increase the budget.
Could he use the snow and ice budget for repairs that are directly related to the snow and ice removal?
Absolutely.
Wouldn't
I
that be a
think his
change in the
repair-
presentation of the financials?
I believe Randy already does that, so we may want to clarify that.
So he had a line item for repairs, and when I was doing the minutes and listening to the recording, I believe he said that most of the repairs that were not, and this was not in snow and ice, were related to snow and ice. So my thought was if he used the snow and ice budget for those repairs and remove that line item from his other budget, I believe it was around 34,000, 35,000.
We could always circle back with him.
Okay, just a thought. I mean, it's not a lot, but
And Bill, where was that in the,
so can you scroll up a little bit?
oh, yeah. Oh, was it this repairs line?
I believe so, yeah. I can go back and re-listen to the video.
Okay, so your thought was, can we move some of that into snow and ice, or just move some of the,
Just reduce that, and then he can use this, pay for repairs that are directly related to snow and ice from the snow and ice budget.
Right, without increasing snow and ice, so we could
Right,
maybe
right.
nick some off of that since we're allowed to overspend on the other one.
That was, and of course, I don't have the experience that you do, Ninotchka, but that was my thought.
I like it.
It could save, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000.
I think it's something certainly worth when you guys go through the final run through, that might be an option.
Yep, no, that sounds like a great suggestion. Okay. we will put that on the list to consider. All right. Bill, does that impact the minutes at all, or are you still comfortable with the minutes as written?
The minutes are fine.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from our January 7th meeting?
I move we approve the minutes from our January 7th meeting.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Don,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. Excellent. Okay, does anyone have anything else? So there is no advisory meeting next week. We have a break. And then the following week is our Tri-Town discussion. We're hosting the financial committees from Lancaster and Stowe, and we'll be getting a presentation from the Neshoba School District. As a reminder, that meeting is scheduled to start at 6 p.m. instead of our usual 6:30. And I'll send out a notice before that. Anyone have questions? Anything? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. See you.
Thank you, Marie.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.